KRFF 95.9, RadioFreeFargo.org, streaming everywhere you're at on a beautiful day here in Fargo. Welcome. That was Mavis Staples. Leave on Helm. When the Lord get ready, you got to move. And that's just one sample of the awesome stuff that happens on this radio station. The best radio station in the world as far as I'm concerned. And so far, I've yet to be contested. Who am I? I'm Wilson. Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. Every Thursday, 4 o'clock, I skeet that diddly-doodly my way into here. And here is the seat. There is the studio. And over there is Fargo. Maybe you're from Fargo. Maybe you aren't. Maybe you listen to RadioFreeFargo.org in Sweden. That's great. Welcome. We're going to talk about cannabis legalization, the benefits of cannabis, benefits, cannabis legalization, circulating petitions. That's happening in North Dakota. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about South Dakota. They are trying to mess with the medical, and we'll read in that. I haven't read it, so I don't really know, but I do know. Let me just click this quick. South Dakota seeks changes to medical rules. So we'll talk about that, and that's, who knows what they're going to try to change, but we will talk about it at 4:20, right before me with Side Stage with Trav, 1 to 3. Canna-Talk ND with Wilson, that's me, 4 to 5. Stinky Arts Music Mart, right after me, 5 to 7. And then we've got a couple spaces that need to be filled. So if you know about music, or you got like some fun stuff you like to talk about, preferably music maybe, get a hold of RadioFreeFargo.org. Email them. Do what you got to do. And you could be a DJ here on Radio Free Fargo. And we've got a couple spots specifically today that we could put you in. So, is that you? Is that you? But anyway, Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. That's who I am. We're going to talk about cannabis. We're going to sprinkle some tunes in there. I got some red tape. This show is brought to you by Black Cottage Alchemy. Black Cottage Alchemy on Facebook, blackcottagealchemy.com. The body butter is what I promote specifically, but they have colloidal silver, and there's some other things that she does, and everything that she does do is great. So, there you go. Thank you, Black Cottage Alchemy, for supporting Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. Now, what's in it? It's made with kosher, full-spectrum CBD, North Dakota-grown hemp, of course. 1,600 mgs of the CBD. There's mango butter, shea butter, and some other butters. She's added a ylang-ylang, which is just fun to say or not. It kind of makes my tongue puke a little. I don't know what I'm talking about. Why should I? It's a beautiful day. I hope everybody is outside today. Unless you're a little baby, it is in the 90s. But the humidity's low here in Fargo, Moorhead. So get outside and just absorb some of that vitamin D. And, if you got a medical cord, why don't you, get some vitamin THC in you, Or if you're a crazy lawbreaker, do it anyway, because Wilson said so. No, I didn't. And we're here to change the law, not break the law, so don't do that. Don't do that. But again, if you want to pedal on downtown because it's such a nice day and you just bought yourself some new sunblock and you're looking to apply it, put it on your body and come on downtown to Tochi Products. Get on inside there, and there will be Black Cottage Alchemy products for you to purchase and to say thanks for supporting this show. And while you're in there, sign the petition, would you? New Approach North Dakota. I got great news, and we'll talk about that as we get further into this thing. You guys are going to love how many signatures they got. And if you're in the know, you know. But if you don't know, you will know. And you can thank your boy Wilson for that. I believe cannabis was created by God himself for us to use as humans to use as we see fit. And I thank him. Well, I thank him every day. And I show him my gratitude every Sunday, 10 a.m., Antioch Church, 417 Main Avenue. Actually, it's the only building between Broadway and 4th Street. So, unless you're a stupid dummy, we don't want you coming anyway if you can't figure out the one building that's in between those two areas. If that confuses you, go to a different church. Just kidding. Strap on your resin-soaked seatbelt. We're going to push through this show. I do want to mention for fun, Antioch Church is going to be at Island Park in a tent doing free prayer. So if you need prayer for yourself, stroll through the tent. And we'll do that for you. I think I'll be there. I'm not sure. I was thinking about bringing brownies, but it's the wrong kind of tent. So I thought, I think God told me not to bring them. So I won't. But if you want to make your own, go for it. I mean, I don't even know what I'm talking about. Let's just keep moving. Canna-Talk ND with Wilson, like I said, every Thursday. Canna-Talk ND on Instagram. This show minus the music will be put up on our YouTube channel. We are on podcast platforms, but I would encourage that you just listen to this show with the music added on RadioFreeFargo.org. There is a selection you can listen to the show that you missed, and it's great. It's great sound quality. It's great sound quality, and so you're going to dig it. But if you can't do any of that, again, check out my Canna-Talk ND on Instagram, and I will tell you when this will be on YouTube minus the music. So we got a fun show for you. I'm going to play some music, but first I want to tell you about Memory Fireworks because the 4th of July is coming up. This segment of programming on KRFF 95.9 LPFM is being underwritten by Memory Fireworks. Memory is locally owned and operated and have been serving the region for over 40 years. Home of the Dakota and Memory series. Check out favorites like the Fargo or the new Dakota Unicorn with 4 Fargo Moorhead locations. You can shop now and pick up beginning June 27th. That's in a few days. They're open Monday through Sunday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Find them online at memoryfireworks.com. This 4th of July, light up the sky with Memory Fireworks. Man, that creeps up on me. Fireworks in July, 4th of July used to be a big deal as a kid, but I kind of just even forget that it even is happening. Let's play a little tunage. I got brand new, the Mars Volta. You're like, what? Yep, here's Black Light Shine on Radio Free Fargo, 95.9. Mars Volta, anyone? Black Light Shine. That's brand new on Radio Free Fargo, KRFF 95.9. You're tapped into Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. Every Thursday, 4 o'clock, I get up in here. 4:20, I open a big fat bag of cannabis news, and I can assure you that's going to happen today. And I'm excited to tell you that because it's Thursday, and it's very green outside. It's beautiful outside. So I welcome everybody to turn up their air conditioning or shut it off and go outside and listen into me talk about current cannabis info that wasn't even considered info 7 days ago. Okay, so let's talk about New Approach North Dakota. Like I said, Orange Records, they have the signature signy thing there. The biggest coolest thing about this one, if you've been living under a rock, is the 3-plant grow potential that doesn't even exist in the medical program, which, like you guys know, I believe cannabis is medical no matter what. If you take it for fun, something medical is going to happen to your body that you don't have any control over. If you want to think, hey, I'm just reckless, I'm going to do this reckless recreational thing. Well, guess what? Your inflammation will be reduced, range of motion. I seem to have more range of motion. There's just a lot of medical benefits. I mean, not to mention homeostasis is your inner zen, and cannabis specifically manages your body temp, i.e. homeostasis. So I'd say that's pretty important, and if you're having fun while it happens, what's the problem? So New Approach North Dakota agrees with me, and I believe having plants available, you can just grow kind of what you need, like a low THC, high CBD. If you've got PTSD, you want to do the White Widow and just crank it up to kill them night terrors. Well, you could grow 3 of them, or maybe you grow 2 and then you grow the 3rd one that maybe you experiment with, But anyway, Orange Records here in Fargo. But if you're in Bismarck, Puffin Stuff in Mandan, Ignite Dispensary in Bismarck, Knock Oots, which is just a stupid name, I don't care. Bismarck, North Dakota. Makes sense, I guess. Fargo, Orange Records, that's downtown. Tochi Products, that's right outside here. You get to Holiday Gas Station in downtown Fargo, you should be able to find the funky colored building, because if you can't, again, you have no business participating in any sort of progress regarding cannabis. If you can't find Tochi Products from Holiday. E-Sig City, Fargo. The skate shop, also downtown, right across the street from the Gardner. 2 businesses down from Orange Records. 46 and 2 Tattoo, Thunder Coffee, and Mother's in Moorhead. Grand Forks, Discontent's got it. Oyata Records in Grand Forks also has the New Approach North Dakota legalization petition, Minot, Budget Music, Cloud D, Pipe Dreams, The Ranger, NOLA, On the Rocks, Lucky Smoke, The Landing Bar, and the Pekin Lodge in Pekin, which I see you, Pekin. Feel me? But anyway, new approach, North Dakota, and I've got new information as far as the signatures go, and so that's exciting, and of course I'm going to make you wait because that's how we do it. But I can assure you that there's a change coming when it comes to a legalized cannabis ballot initiative that finally makes it on the ballot. I mean, we've been attempting and we've been trying since 2018. And so I don't want to say this is going to happen for sure. However, I'm a risk taker and I know more than a lot of you. So I can almost just take it to the bank. Barring some crazy snowstorm that just covers all the signatures up with snow and melts the ink, and, you know, a bottle rocket blows through the window that's housing all the signatures. There's an open bottle of butane, and boom, they blow up all the signatures and they're gone, no proof or done. Barring that, it's going to be on the ballot. You're going to be able to vote on it. And it's exciting because, again, we've made some major gains since 2018 Measure 3. And it'd be interesting to see what Cass County, like I said, Measure 3, Cass County, 52% in 2018. So if you're a betting man and you want to put a number in your head and we can talk about it later, go ahead. But I bet, I mean, if Cass County voted 75% for, would that blow anybody's minds? I don't know. I mean, and would 75% Cass County cover any sort of, you know, western part of the state's kind of, you know, still kind of hesitant? I don't know. But I think it's going to be exciting, and I can't wait. But let's play some music, and then we'll do this 420 Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. Here's more Chiba, The Sea. That was The Sea by Morchiba from the Big Calm, 1998, here on KRFF 95.9, RadioFreeFargo.org. We're streaming wherever you want to listen to us. It's the best radio station in the world as far as I'm concerned. 420, it's time to do Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. So on the other side of this, get ready. If you got a medical card, get ice in that cylinder. It's time to rock.
Yo, it's Wilson from Canna-Talk ND. You know, the super awesome show you're getting ready to listen to. I think you should go and subscribe to the YouTube channel. I'll wait. Okay, enjoy the show.
Quick. Hello, everybody. How are we doing? Welcome to another Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. We're going to talk about this week in cannabis. We've got several things to talk about, but we do live in North Dakota, and by we, I mean whoever's listening to me that does. I do. It's a beautiful day here in Fargo, so if you want to listen to Canna-Talk ND outside, you better hurry up. I'll give you 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Are you outside yet? Doesn't matter. Anyway, New Approach North Dakota, they are currently circulating, and by circulating, they are grinding. I mean, I've never seen a group of people knock out these signatures and so quick in my life. July 11th is the deadline to get 15,383. Now, I might be wrong about those last three numbers, but I will tell you that, July 11th is when it needs to be done. Let me see what else I can tell you. I won't tell you anything yet, but New Approach North Dakota. Again, Orange Records downtown, Tochi Products you can sign, or find anybody downtown, my man Foster or the other guy with the funny hat. They will have a petition, so you can go ahead and hook up with them when you're downtown in Fargo. But again, New Approach North Dakota, 3 plants you can grow, up to an ounce, and then, the regulatory framework that goes along with it. July 11th is when that's due, and I'm going to read you this that I don't know if it came from New Approach North Dakota, their website, or what, but and I have spoken to Bradley, who did confirm this number, and I also want to say that they run it through an authentication process to ensure that the signatures are as good as they possibly can before they make it to the guy who decides that they're good. So with those assurances, they have well over 16,000. Let's give them a hand. Which means they've got enough signatures. If all of these are accurate, we're done. is going to be on the ballot. You're going to get to vote on whether or not you want to grow 3 plants. I do. You better. And you better tell somebody you know that don't, that if they don't, you're not going to give them a present at Christmas time. I won't either. And if you want to tell me who they are, maybe I'll go to their house and I'll kick something through their window. And I'm just kidding. This is a radio show. And a lot of times my brain isn't connected to my mouth. That's the beauty of ADD and just not paying attention. And I don't know that there's a major disciplinary board that's going to reprimand me if I don't stay on topic. Feel me? So you're listening to Canna-Talk ND with Wilson every Thursday, 4:20 I get in here. We're just a little past that. And if you just tuned the dial and you're wondering, hey, isn't there a ballot initiative being circulated that'll allow us to grow 3 plants in July or in November? Expiration date in July 11th? I'd say yes, indeed. Well, where do I need to sign? Well, you do need to sign, but we've got all our signatures. Now, as DSO will say in this article I'm about to read you, that, of course, we need a buffer. So they're going to keep pushing, but man, it's June. I mean, they've got 3 weeks. I mean, I don't doubt. Well, 2 things can happen. The people that have been grinding that got it to the 16,000 plus might feel a sense of relief, might have a false sense of security, and may not push like they've been pushing, and they may not get as many now. You know, it's almost like in the summer months, right before summer lets out for school, the kids are looking out the window at the sun and the birds, and the teacher's trying to make them listen, and they ain't listening, they ain't learning, because they're just looking outside. Well, if you tell a guy, hey, man, good work, we've got all the signatures, now you still need to work hard because we need a buffer, sometimes that gives a person license to relax. You know, it happens in football all the time. They're the number 1 seed. There's no way they can lose, and all of a sudden, because they're playing the Lions, and what happens? The Lions smoke them because of confidence, and they just thought they had it together. So I would encourage anybody who's out there grinding, great job, but don't stop and keep pushing till July 11th. But for you people who aren't involved but still are going to benefit from cannabis legalization, in the state of North Dakota, they've already got the signatures. If every one of these 16,000 plus are accurate and are valid, I guess is the better word, then boom, it's going to be on the ballot in November, y'all. It's done. Isn't that crazy? And people would argue, well, that's what happens when you put $500,000 behind it. Yeah, that helps. That helps. But so does torchbearing. You know, from the medical in 2015 to Measure 3 in 2018, the North Dakota Cannabis Caucus movement that just, refuses to stop, that helps. Turning legislators, that kind of helps. And slowly, we benefit from this. And it's awesome. So show your support, sign the petition, Tochi Products, Orange Records downtown. Go to newapproachnorthdakota.org to find out anywhere you live is a spot, and get in there. And let's get cannabis legalized. All right. Well, I said that to say this. Let's talk about this first. U.S. Supreme Court declines to hear medical cannabis workers' comp cases. Now, there was a couple cats. Okay, so anyway, the U.S. Supreme Court has decided not to hear cases regarding employers' refusal to pay for medical cannabis as a part of a workers' comp's claim. The U.S. Supreme Court has refused to hear a pair of cases. The DOJ had asked the court to refuse the cases, saying such reforms should come from Congress or the executive branch. The 2 cases originated in Minnesota, and in both instances, employees had asked their employers to pay for medical cannabis after experiencing on-the-job injuries. Both employers refused. Of course, they did. The plaintiffs, with the help of advocacy groups like Empire State NORML, disagreed, saying employers do not have to possess or manufacture cannabis in violation of the Controlled Substance Act, and only would have to provide monetary compensation for cannabis products. The Minnesota Supreme Court eventually sided with the employers on the basis that federal law preempts state medical cannabis laws. When the case arrived at the Supreme Court, the justices sought input from the DOJ Solicitor General, who replied with an amicus curiae. Bing, bang, amicus curiae. Last month, reminding the court that several other state courts had weighed in on the issue. However, they said those cases had not meaningfully considered all of the possible grounds for preemption and recommended the court not hear the cases. Plaintiffs disagreed and had filed briefs explaining why the court should hear the cases, but with the latest development, the cases are now closed. Now, that sounds horrible. Here we go from High Times. South Dakota seeks changes to medical rules. South Dakota is finally making moves on legal cannabis rules and regulations after stalling for years following the legalizing vote. Finally, medical cannabis is legal in South Dakota, a state that legalized in 2020 before facing numerous hurdles in order to make medical cannabis official. And still, the state's dispensaries haven't started distributing it. The next step to make that happen is a change in regulations, which is currently in the works. South Dakota, bless your hearts. In South Dakota, the medical cannabis is overseen by the South Dakota Department of Health, otherwise known as Big Fat Commies. They recently held a public hearing to go over proposed changes and how things could move forward in the state if approved. Despite the hearing taking place on June 21, there's still time to submit written comments. Comments will be accepted through July 1. Once the final comments are received, the department will make a decision. The changes must first be analyzed by a committee, of course. These changes are separate from those already approved that take place on July 1. The lead counsel, John McCullough, pointed out the other changes referenced are those that were approved by Senate Bill 4. So here's some approved changes, including a major milestone. According to this change, a physician no longer is required to state that the patient will be likely to receive therapeutic or palliative benefits from medical cannabis. Instead, they only have to state that the patient has a debilitating medical condition, not that it is likely to be treated successfully by cannabis. This takes a lot of weight off the physicians when it comes to new types of treatments like legal cannabis. Absolutely. North Dakota need that bad. Originally under Measure 26, which was approved when it was legalized, they opposed the wording as it essentially forced prescribing doctors to say that cannabis would help, not just that it was an option. It sounds like word hustle to me. Currently, debilitating conditions approved to be treated with medical cannabis. Doesn't look like anxiety's on there. AIDS is, of course. ALS, which is Lou Gehrig's, MS, which sometimes I think I might have, cancer associated with severe chronic pain or wasting, Crohn's, epilepsy, and PTSD, which that list is not very long. To add other conditions, there is currently an application process to see if more qualified conditions will be approved in the future. So far, there seems to be a big desire for medical cannabis based on how well a tribal dispensary is serving its community, and the fact that the state had over 1,000 medical cards given out. The Flandreau Santee tribe currently operates a dispensary legally. Their data shows that more than 10,000 have registered. State Department reported 1,100 patient cards as of June 13. It remains to be seen what changes will be requested by the community, and it'd be interesting for me to see that as well. What do we got here? This is from High Times. I don't know if you guys have heard of this, but this is pretty wild, and a lot of you guys are going to be like, what? So, Mississippi. And now, let me just tell you how I was taught how to spell Mississippi by my southern relatives, my aunts and uncles. Okay, so here's how you spell Mississippi by not spelling Mississippi. You feel me? Here we go. M-I, crooked letter, I. Crooked letter, I. Humpback, I is your Mississippi done hillbilly. All right? That's Hillbilly, Mississippi for you, and you're welcome here on Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. We talk about cannabis legalization and other stuff, and we tell you how to spell Mississippi using hillbilly language. Let me do it again. M-I, crooked letter, I. Crooked letter, I. Humpback, I. That's your Hillbilly, Mississippi moment, brought to you by the mayor of Greentown. Me. Captain Green. Green Captain. The captain of Green. What's going on? Oh, yeah, I'm reading you guys articles about cannabis. Let's do it. Mississippi Supreme Court upholds life sentence for weed possession. Let me just read it again for fun. Mississippi Supreme Court upholds life sentence for weed possession. Now, let me just read you this header. They upheld the sentence of life in prison without parole for a man convicted of possessing less than 2 ounces of cannabis, which basically means once New Approach North Dakota gets the measure on the ballot and we vote for it, you're going to be able to legally have almost as much as this guy's spending his whole life without parole in prison for. Now, if that doesn't make you angry, if that doesn't make you think that our government is lopsided and full of crap, that should tell you it. I mean, we've got 18 states that's got legal cannabis, and this guy's sitting in a prison for life for 2 ounces. And as I tell you, cannabis is medical no matter who's using it. So you're basically putting him in prison for medicine. It's wild, isn't it? So anyway, they voted last week to uphold the life sentence. They uphold it. The court voted 6 to 3 to confirm the penalty for the defendant, Alan Russell, who was sentenced under Mississippi's habitual offender statute. He was convicted of possessing less than 3 O's. Now it's down to less than 3. I don't know. Is it 2? Is it 3? Whatever. Oh, it looks like it's 2.5, 79.5 grams. So, because the trial judge followed the law to the letter, we affirm the trial judge did not have sentencing discretion in this case. Russell was arrested in 2017 for possessing 5 bags of cannabis, weighing a combined total of 79.5 grams, that police discovered while executing a search warrant. Lab analysis determined they contained 4370 grams, whatever, and Russell was indicted on one charge of possessing more than 30 grams, but less than 250 grams of cannabis. What? Normally, a conviction on such a charge would carry a sentence of up to 3 years in prison, but Russell was also charged with being a violent, habitual offender, subjecting him to a mandatory life sentence without parole upon conviction. Well, now, all right. So, during his trial, prosecutors presented evidence that Russell had 3 prior felony convictions, 2 for burglary, 1 for possession of a firearm, and under Mississippi law, burglary is considered a violent offense, even if no evidence of actual violence has been presented. Now, Russell pleaded guilty in 2004 and was given 2 concurrent 15-year sentences. He spent a little more than 8.5 years in prison, was released in 2014, the same year that Mississippi law was changed to classify burglary as a violent crime, even if no evidence was presented. So, in 2019, he was found guilty of a possession charge, and the court found that he was a violent habitual offender under the law, sentencing him to life behind bars. Russell then sued to overturn the sentence, arguing it violated his right to be protected from cruel and unusual punishment under the 8th Amendment. Chief Justice Michael wrote in a separate concurring opinion that Russell's life sentence was not solely for cannabis, and that he had been treated leniently by the courts in previous criminal charges, noting that the defendant is no stranger to the criminal justice sentence system. Russell has received a harsh punishment not because of the cannabis, but because he has repeatedly refused to abide by the laws and acted to protect all the citizens of our state. Well, when I read that, right? Chief Justice added that it is pertinent to note that the arrest came while law enforcement was attempting to serve another drug-related warrant on Russell, as well as execute a search warrant on his premises. He noted there was uncertainty regarding his criminal history, writing that burglary was not considered a per se crime of violence until state law. Now, that might be something. Prior to July 1, burglary was only considered a crime of violence if actual violence took place. So we don't know whether his burglaries involved actual violence. So last year, an appeals court voted 5-5 in Russell's case, with the tie vote not enough to overturn the sentence. So the purpose of the criminal justice system is to punish those who break the law. So I don't know what you think of that. A petition on change organized was to commute a sentence. They garnered more than 100,000 signatures. But again, this guy, I'm not sure about life, but he sounds like a nutball who has a penchant for violence, and I think we should focus on him being a violent freak ball than the fact of this whole cannabis thing. Now, adult use cannabis companies are struggling to stay afloat. Man, I can't talk today, people. Stay afloat amid overproduction, falling prices. So this is a little interesting. As mainstream businesses cope with surging inflation and the threat of recession, many adult use companies are struggling with their own host of problems. Falling prices and a product glut, which means there's so much cannabis, price drops. So, falling prices and the product glut in more established states are forcing companies out of business, triggering layoffs, and setting off an industry-wide scramble to stay afloat. Colorado, Oregon, and Washington State are among the more mature markets where wholesale cannabis have tumbled the prices because growers produce far more flower than retailers can absorb. The falling prices have put added strain on cannabis growers and retailers, so they're shedding employees. In Washington, taxes can account for nearly 50% of the price of cannabis, making it harder for owners to remain competitive. This guy says, owner of Cannabis City, says, my revenue has dropped month after month, year after year. In response, retailers are using a variety of tactics. They offer consumers steep price discounts. They exiting the retail business altogether and just growing. Opening entirely new businesses like beer lounges and whatnot. It's going well for almost nobody, said Matt Wallstater. When I go to industry events, I don't really talk about my business because everybody's talking about how terrible it is and what a bloodbath. So in Oregon, companies are struggling to cope amid a flood of businesses opening their doors after the vote to legalize in 2014. Oregon adds a state tax of 17% to cannabis, while municipalities are permitted to impose an additional tax to 3%. Initially, there was no number of retail licenses that the state doled out. So it means there's so many retail markets, it's really, really crowded. It used to be when we got started that people would drive past stores to come to our store. After a while, it wasn't they were driving past 2 or 3, it's that they were driving past 10 or 15. At last count, Oregon had 787 cannabis stores. It said 2 high-volume retailers opened on either side of a store soon after he opened, which made it tough to remain competitive. Prices are falling in Colorado. Businesses are shuttering their doors. I mean, it's crazy. So let's see. According to the Colorado Department of Revenue, marijuana sales in April totaled $153 million, which declined 25%. The price of wholesale cannabis flower is also down 43% in the first quarter. Chris Becker said the market price for a pound of cannabis has dropped from $1,600 to about $800. It's been a tough year for cultivators. Most people built their businesses around getting at least $1,500 a pound. With cost of production around $800 to $900 a pound, many of the smaller cultivators with 3,500 to 5,000 square foot grows are likely to go out of business. Stores aren't faring much better because there's so many are for sale. Marijuana growers are selling for pennies on the dollar if they're selling at all. Now here's Washington. Here businesses are coping with steep taxes. 37% is the retail excise tax. And then there's a Washington sales tax of 10.2%. So it's basically 47.2% tax on a product that people can effectively grow in their closet if they want. The only people that are winning are high volume stores. Happen to be in an area where they've had a monopoly for a while. Man, that's crazy. Well, that's too bad. Now let's keep cruising because we're about running out of time here. Canna-Talk ND with Wilson every Thursday. I get in here, 4:20. I start talking. This is from the High Times. U.S. English teacher sentenced to 14 years in Russia for pot smuggling. Let me just read it again because my daughter's a third grade teacher. And I don't know that I'd let her go to Russia. I certainly wouldn't be letting her doing any smuggling. But how innocent is an English teacher that you're going to, teachers remind me of old ladies, really. They're doing us a solid. They're raising our generation. They're doing the Lord's work, dare I say. Leave them alone. Leave the teachers alone. I mean, a pot smuggling teacher, really? Whatever. So anyway, let's read it. Another foreign traveler in possession of cannabis has been sentenced to prison time in Russia. Now, we know that basketball player's there, and it ain't going to be good for her. Now, Mark Fogel, he was sentenced to 14 years in prison. His role was an English teacher at the Anglo-American School in Moscow. On August 15th, he was caught in possession of 17 grams of cannabis in his luggage at the Sheremetyevo International Airport. According to recent Moscow ruling, the American citizen had been found guilty because of large-scale drug smuggling, large-scale storage without a commercial purpose. Wait a minute. How many do you have? 17 grams? What is that? A half ounce? Fogel said that a doctor recommended medical cannabis to use for his pain. He insists that it was medical cannabis. Claims that a doctor prescribed it to him in the U.S., which is allegedly confirmed by an entry in the medical record. Furthermore, Fogel argued that he did not know that medical cannabis was illegal. But again, ignorance is bliss? I'm not sure. A Russian news agency called Interfax reported that Fogel pleaded guilty. And so they sentenced him to 14 years in a high-security penal colony. Dude, Fogel, my bro. The ruling occurred in the same jurisdiction as discussing the detainment of WNBA Brittany Griner, who's also got her problems. So we'll see what happens with that. In Russia, both adult use and medical cannabis is illegal. 19-year-old film student traveling with 19 grams spent a month in prison and left with a $15,000 fine in rubles, which is $230 in US dollar. So that is crazy to me. Now, this is from the Ganjapreneur. 2 Oklahoma attorneys charged with ghost owner medical cannabis scheme. You're like, what? Exactly. But 2 Oklahoma attorneys have been charged with falsifying records, which I guess ghosting means they weren't real. Cultivation of a dangerous substance, don't know what that means, we'll find out. And multiple counts of conspiracy after allegedly putting their legal assistants' names on more than 400 cannabis cultivation applications. Could you imagine? I mean, it's almost like, like 23-and-1, like how many children have you fathered, all of a sudden you do this 23-and-1 and you find out in the 70s you made like 400 babies. Eric Brown and Logan Jones were each charged with multiple counts of conspiracy. The practice, here's what happens. So they charged with legal assistance. They lend their names to cannabis cultivation applicants, helping their out-of-state clients around residency requirements. The practice is referred to by officials as ghost owners. So the multiple counts, were used to apply for medical cannabis grow license with the state. Announcing the charges last week, said there are more than 400 grow operations in the state that listed the Jones Brown law firm employees as the owners. They are no longer in partners. One legal assistant told investigators that she was paid 3 G's for each license she put her name on, and at least $1,000 was paid back to the law firm. She said she was meeting with clients so frequently this was the only type of work she was doing. This year, the state has passed several laws to rein in the state's medical cannabis industry, including a bill that raises penalties for transferring medical cannabis to non-patients. The Oklahoman would help officials deal with the complexity of regulation and compliance. So that's interesting. Now, speaking of medical, this is from Ganjapreneur study. Number of medical cannabis patients quadrupled from 2016 to 2020. I'm going to go ahead and give you a few seconds to guess how many you think is in the U.S. right now. The number of registered medical cannabis patients in the U.S. is quadrupled. The total is just over almost 3 million patients. I don't know. Is that good? That sounds great, but I don't know. Number of individuals enrolling surpassed 2.97 million. The researchers found that 61% of enrollees are qualified for programs for chronic pain, while 11 are enrolled for post-traumatic stress disorder, which leaves what? 7. According to the National Conference of States, 37 states and 4 U.S. territories have legalized medical cannabis. Medical cannabis was approved by one legislative chamber, but were not brought for a vote. Mississippi was the only state to approve medical cannabis this year after state Supreme Court struck down a voter-approved initiative. So, let's see. A Harris poll survey conducted on behalf of Curaleaf has released earlier this month found that 91% of adults 21 and older who have ever used cannabis has done so for health and wellness purposes, regardless of whether they enrolled in a state program. The poll found that 75% of respondents preferred holistic health solutions over pharmaceuticals, with 62% saying they would prefer to use cannabis rather than pharmaceutical drugs for a medical issue. Here. More than half, 52%, said they preferred to use cannabis to relax, 49 help with sleep, 44 to reduce stress, 41 to reduce anxiety. So, I mean, all of these things are good. Now you might say alcohol helps you relax. Alcohol helps you reduce stress and helps with sleep. But the side effects of the next morning are you're far from relaxed. The next day you can't sleep. When I used to drink, when I'd wake up the next morning, all I would want to do would be to eat and sleep, and I just felt like crap with a capital C. And you know what made it feel better? Cannabis. See? So this helps with all the things that say alcohol may help with, except there's no side effects to this. You wake up the next morning feeling great. Alcohol makes you pay the next day for relaxing, for reducing your stress. All that comes back. See what I'm saying? So anyway, Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. Every Thursday I get in here. 420, open a big fat bag of cannabis news, and this stinking Thursday was no different. I hope I provided you with some entertainment or information, or just as a companion at 4 o'clock on a Thursday. Your boy Wilson's on the air. Drummer's Journey Underwriter programming on 95.9 Radio Free Fargo, KRFF. LP is being underwritten by Drummer's Journey. Drummer's Journey offers percussion instruments, hardware, electronics, accessories, and more. They have full service for drummers, including repair, custom building, and lessons. Drummer's Journey is located on Highway 10 East Mall in Moorhead, Minnesota. Their hours are Monday through Thursday, 11 to 7. Fridays and Saturdays, 11 to 5. Sundays, noon to 5. For more info, check drummersjourney.com. That's all one word. They have a profile on Facebook. Oh, they have a profile on Facebook. Well, good for Drummer's Journey. And if you need some drummy stuff, make sure you let Drummer's Journey handle that. So I got some brand new stick figure and slightly stupid. This is Way of Life on Radio Free Fargo. This has got a groove here. Well, that there was called Way of Life. Brand new stick figure and slightly stupid with 2 O's here on KRFF 95.9, RadioFreeFargo.org. We're streaming everywhere that you are, and where there's ears, we can produce content that'll go inside your holes. And by holes, I mean the audio holes. Get your mind out of the gutter. Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. Every Thursday I'm in here. Right before me, side stage with Trav, 1 to 3. 4 to 5, I talk about cannabis legalization. After me, it's Stinky Arts Music Mart, 5 to 7. And then you got Black Ring Ritual, then wraps up your Thursday. Again, if you're looking to be a DJ, specifically on Thursdays, we've got a couple spots open. So if you have a flair for music, or, I don't know, you talk real crazy, people are like, wow, that's crazy. Well, come talk crazy here. There's a small monthly fee, but what you get in reward far surpasses. So if you're looking to be a DJ, get a hold of us, RadioFreeFargo.org. This show is brought to you by Black Cottage Alchemy, BlackCottageAlchemy.com, Black Cottage Alchemy on Facebook. Black Cottage Alchemy does a body butter with 1,600 mgs of CBD in it. It helps all skin ailments. You can come downtown here to Tochi Products, pick up some of that. Colloidal silver also happens to be on the list of items that Black Cottage Alchemy provides. Again, thank you, Black Cottage Alchemy, for sponsoring this show and allows me to talk every Thursday about pertinent cannabis information. Now I'm going to get out of here. Again, Stinky Arts Music Mart is on deck, and if it isn't, then he's not. But hey, I'm going with it. I haven't heard that he isn't here, so he's there. Stinky Arts Music Mart, directly after me, every Thursday. We got Black Ring Ritual later in the evening, and then don't forget Friday as well. Again, cannabis, that's what I'm all about. Just wanted to mention for fun, Island Park, 6 p.m., we're going to have a prayer tent. So if you need prayer, and everybody needs prayer, come on down and we'll appeal to the man upstairs for you. It'll be exciting. Free hugs too, I guess. I just made that up. No brownies because of the whole prayer thing. And I haven't asked the church if I could bring pot brownies, but I'm guessing, first of all, it's illegal, so I can't. I don't have them because, it's illegal. And I don't know how to bake, really. I know how to get baked, but I'm not sure how to bake goods. But anyway, I'm just rambling, and that's okay, too. But anyway, educate yourself on the benefits of cannabis so you can educate others on said benefits. Again, I'll be back next Thursday. Until then, be good to yourself. David Allen, Judgment Day. Peace.